So now that the AirPod Max are here, there's definitely a lot of hype around them because they are from Apple. Now, even though the AirPod Max really do deliver when it comes to sound and active noise cancellation, personally, I find it very hard to justify them because these headphones just have a lot of quirks to them that are very hard to overlook when you're dropping $550 on your headphones. So today, we're going to be comparing the AirPods Max to more sensible options like the Sony 1000XM4s. But I'm also going to be throwing in the Sony 1000XM3s because even though the 1000XM4s are out, the 1000XM3s are still a great pair of ANC headphones. Now, like I just mentioned, the AirPods Max retail for $550, which is considerably more than the rest of the competition. So for that reason, these headphones are subject to more scrutiny from me. Whereas both the Sony 1000XM4s and 1000XM3s retail for $350, which is reasonable for a pair of premium ANC headphones. But both of these headphones can routinely be found on sale. Right now, the 1000XM4s are on sale for $278. Regardless, if you want to pick any of these headphones up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to learn more about these headphones and get into the nitty-gritty, please watch their full reviews because we're only going to be going over their main differences. Now, first off, we got to adjust the carrying cases here. The AirPods Max come included with this smart case. Now, even though this smart case feels premium with a luxurious feeling outside and velour inside, it's just not going to properly protect your headphones because this headband is just so exposed. Whereas both of Sony's headphones come included with proper hard shell carrying cases that are going to actually protect your headphones, and they even have a little storage compartment for your cables. So definitely this is a major drawback for the AirPods Max. If you plan on traveling with these headphones, then I highly suggest that you invest in a hard shell carrying case. Better safe than sorry. But now let's talk about the headphones themselves. Build quality wise, the AirPods Max are in a league of their own. They have aluminum ear cups. This headband slides in and out. Up top, this headband is covered in silicone, giving us a soft touch feel. We've got this fabric mesh canopy that has a surprising amount of spring to it. And then we've got fabric ear pads. All in all, the AirPods Max are exquisitely built. Whereas with both of Sony's headphones, they're mostly made out of plastic. Now, the ear cups on both of them have a soft touch feel to them. The 1000XM4s have slate-feeling plastic arms, whereas the plastic arms on the 1000XM3s have a smooth feel to them. And the leatherette on both of these headphones does feel a little synthetic, a little plasticky. However, the leatherette on the 1000XM4s does feel a little softer than the 1000XM3s. All in all, both of Sony's headphones have good build quality, and I can vouch for the 1000XM3's longevity, because these things were my daily drivers for almost 2 years, and I put them through a lot from all the videos that I made with them. But I'd be lying if I didn't say the AirPods Max were better built and should be able to stand up to more wear and tear than these other plastic options. But unfortunately, the AirPods Max exquisite build quality really does hinder them when it comes to comfort. For starters, the AirPods Max weigh way above average, coming in at 385 grams, whereas your typical pair of premium ANC headphones weigh in around 270 grams. So what this 385 gram weight on the AirPods Max means is that these are a pair of headphones that you never forget that you're wearing even when you're just sitting still, and these are also a pair of headphones that you really notice swinging around on your head when you're walking around with them on. And also, these headphones might also develop some neck strain on the back of your neck after wearing them for like an hour or so. Whereas both of Sony's headphones weigh in at 254 grams, which is what we like to see. With both of Sony's headphones, you do forget that you have them on after a while, and you barely notice them swinging on your head when you're walking around with them on. So even though the Sonys aren't using as luxurious materials, they're considerably lighter than the AirPods Max, which I feel is more important. But weight aside, both of Sony's headphones are more comfortable than the AirPods Max for two key reasons. First off, the Sonys have much less clamping force than the AirPods Max, making them big head approved, whereas the AirPods Max are not big head approved because they have a lot more clamping force. Now, I've tried stretching these headphones out and leaving them stretched out overnight, But these headphones still have a lot of clamping force. So if you want something with a looser fit, then you'll definitely want to go with the Sonys. But then there are the earpads. Now the earpads on the AirPods Max are more spacious than the earpads on both the 1000XM4s and 1000XM3s. Now for those who may not know, the earpads on the 1000XM4s are a little roomier than the ones on the 1000XM3s. Now even though the earpads on the AirPods Max are the most spacious ones here, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of them because they're fabric. Now, these fabric earpads do a great job of not overheating, but since this fabric is rather coarse, for me, they can get itchy at times. Whereas the leatherette earpads on the Sonys don't get itchy. So overall, even though the AirPods Max have amazing build quality, they're not the most comfortable headphones to wear. They weigh way above average, they're not big head proof because of all of their clamping force, and their fabric earpads can get itchy. So when it comes to comfort, both of Sony's headphones easily take the win here. But now let's talk about tech specs. The AirPods Max charge via a lightning port, which is nice because you can charge your iPhone and headphones with the same cable if you still prefer to use a wired connection. Because just keep in mind, if you upgraded to MagSafe with the new iPhone 12s, unfortunately, the AirPods Max don't support MagSafe. Whereas both of Sony's headphones charge via a USB-C port, which is very convenient if you daily drive an Android device. But in general, USB-C is becoming super common these days. But now let's talk about battery life. The AirPods Max have an advertised battery life of 20 hours with their active noise cancellation turned on. Now, even though this is okay, it is a little below average for today. Because for comparison's sake, both of Sony's headphones have an advertised battery life of 30 hours with their ANC turned on. And keep in mind, you can always stretch out the battery life on all of these headphones if you use them with their ANC turned off. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, there are a few key things to keep in mind here. Now, the AirPods Max are using Apple's H1 chip. Now, besides making it super easy to pair these headphones up with your iPhone, it also allows you to hot swap between any of your Apple devices associated to your iCloud account. So this could be a big deal for any Apple Power user who might have an iPhone, multiple Macs, and maybe even an iPad. And the H1 chip also allows for Hey support. So you can just be like, hey Siri, call so-and-so or send so-and-so a text, and boom, it's done all with just your voice. Whereas the Sonys don't have Hey Siri support, so you are going to have to press and hold to activate your voice assistant. But also, the 1000XM4s are the only ones here that can be simultaneously connected to two devices at the same time. Whereas the Sony 1000XM3s can only be connected to one device at a time. So these might not be the best option for a power user. Now, two devices should be plenty for most people, but if you are an Apple Power user with an iPhone, multiple Mac computers, an iPad, or maybe even if you have a hybrid setup like me with an Android device and a Windows machine, then you might be interested in the AirPods Max because of that H1 chip. Now, from a performance standpoint, all of these headphones have zero latency across the board when you're watching movies or videos on your phone, whether you're using an iPhone or an Android device. But when it comes to audio codecs, the AirPods Max only have support for SBC and AAC. Now, if you're an iPhone user, this doesn't really matter because iPhones top out at AAC anyways. But Sony's headphones do have support for higher quality audio codecs. Now, the 1000XM3s have support for SBC and AAC, just like the AirPods Max, but they also have support for aptX and aptX HD, and they also have support for Sony's own LDAC. Whereas the 1000XM4s also have support for SBC and AAC just like the AirPods Max, but they only have support for LDAC because Sony is currently phasing out aptX support on their newer headphones. But just keep in mind, if you do want to use LDAC on these headphones, you're going to have to set them so that they can only be connected to one device at a time. But if you want to, you can always just use a wired connection with either of these Sony headphones because they both have an easy-to-reach 3.5mm audio jack, and they come included with an audio cable. Whereas with the AirPods Max, you can use them with a wired connection, but you're gonna have to get Apple's Lightning to audio cable, which is sold separately. But now let's talk about listening to music with these headphones. Now, without a doubt, the AirPods Max sound much better than both of Sony's headphones. The AirPods Max has strong vocals and dynamic bass that both kicks a good amount so that you can physically feel your music, and it also resonates a decent amount as well. But the most important thing is that the AirPods Max sound much more open than the Sonys, whereas the Sonys can sound rather narrow. Now, even though I really like how the AirPods Max sound, I still maintain that the Sennheiser Momentum 3s sound better. Their treble isn't as high, their bass hits a little harder and resonates deeper, and they sound a little more open. But nonetheless, the AirPods Max really do deliver when it comes to sound. Now, the Sonys also sound good, and thanks to their fully customizable EQ, you can make them sound however you want. If you like a neutral EQ, you can do that, or if you want a bass-heavy EQ, you can also do that. Now, the standout characteristic about the Sonys is that they have more head-rattling bass than the AirPods Max. So if you're someone that really likes bass, then you might want to go with the Sonys. But overall, all of these headphones sound good, but the AirPods Max do sound noticeably better, specifically because of their openness. But now, I want to quickly adjust the media controls on these headphones. Now, both of Sony's headphones are using touchpads, and in general, these touchpads are very easy to use and they're super accurate. But some people just don't like touchpads or want to have to deal with touchpads on their headphones. So, the AirPods Max have you covered with their digital crown. However, something that both the AirPods Max and Sony 1000XM4s do have are wear sensors. So, when you take these headphones off, they'll automatically pause the music, and when you put them back on, they'll start playing your music again. Now, personally, I don't really care for wear sensors, and I usually just turn them off on my headphones. But this is something the Sony 1000XM3s don't have. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these headphones. Now, the ANC on all of these headphones doesn't change how your music sounds, which is good. And the microphone array on all of these headphones does a great job of rejecting wind noise when walking outdoors. But the AirPods Max do block out noticeably more noise than both of Sony's headphones. But so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test. So, like you may have just seen, the AirPods Max just brutally go after those constant low frequency sounds, thus clearly blocking out more road noise than both of Sony's headphones. Now, even though more higher pitched sounds managed to get in during the chatter portion of this test, since the AirPods Max just utterly annihilate those constant low frequency sounds, they give the perception of blocking out more noise in the chatter portion of this test as well. Now, even though the AirPods Max do block out the most amount of noise here, the major trade-off here is cabin pressure. Now, you're not going to feel too much cabin pressure if you're playing music with these headphones, but you will feel like you gotta pop your ears from time to time. Now, if you're watching a movie with these headphones, then you'll notice that cabin pressure a little more, and you'll really notice that cabin pressure if you're not playing anything with these headphones. Whereas both of Sony's headphones have significantly less cabin pressure, which contributes to overall comfort. Now, cabin pressure might not be an issue for everybody, but it is for me. I feel that if you have issues with the cabin pressure found on the Bose QC35s, then you might have an issue with the cabin pressure on the AirPods Max. So overall, even though the AirPods Max block out an impressive amount of noise, personally for me, I still prefer the ANC on Sony's headphones because of the reduced cabin pressure. And personally, I still feel the ANC on the Sony 1000XM3s is superior to the ANC on the Sony 1000XM4s, because they do a slightly better job of blocking out low frequency sounds. But now let's talk about the ambient modes on these headphones. Now, all of these headphones have a very natural sounding ambient modes, and they all do a great job of blocking wind noise when walking outdoors. However, I do wish that you could lower the amount of noise the AirPods Max let in, because they let in a lot of noise. Whereas with the Sonys, you can adjust how much noise they let in, and you can even set them to only let in people's voices. And overall, I still maintain that Sony has the better ambient mode here, because both the 1000XM3s and 1000XM4s will actively block out sudden spikes in loud noises like this. So, like you may have just seen, as soon as the Sonys detected that sudden loud noise, they turned their ambient mode off. And when that loud noise stopped, they turned their ambient mode back on. Now keep in mind that only the 1000XM3s and 1000XM4s can do this. So don't go trying this with lower models like the Sony XP900N or Watcha 710N. But technically, the AirPods Max also have an active ambient mode, but they're much slower to react. But let me just show you what I'm talking about. Fair warning, if you're wearing headphones, take them off. So, like you may have just seen, the AirPods Max are much slower to react, which is not a good thing. Now, having an active ambient mode might not be a huge deal for some people, but trust me, it really does come in handy. Whether you're commuting to work in the city and a police car drives by with the siren blaring, or if you're just at your desk working and your dog starts barking because there's someone at the door, you'll be glad that your headphones are smart enough to actively react if you've got your ambient mode turned on. So I really hope Apple pushes out a software update that will make the active ambient mode on these headphones more active. But the Sony 1000XM4s also have a few extra tricks up their sleeve. First of which is Speak to Chat, which works a little like this. Hello there. So this is Speak to Chat. Basically, when I start talking, these headphones will automatically lower the volume of your music and pump in all of the ambient sound around you so that you can talk to someone without even have to touch the headphones themselves. Now, these headphones will stay in this state as long as you're talking, and if you're quiet for a preset determined amount of time, these headphones will go back to their normal state where they're playing music again and blocking out noise. Or you can always manually deactivate Speak to Chat by double tapping on the touchpad like this. Now, keep in mind, only the 1000XM4s have this feature and not the 1000XM3s. But personally, I don't use Speak to Chat, and I do prefer to use Quick Attention, which is available on both of Sony's headphones, where if you fully cover their touchpad, they'll lower the volume of your music and pump in all of the ambient sound around you, like this. And then when you let go, they'll start playing your music again. Now, I do feel Quick Attention has room for improvement, but I do like that Sony's headphones have an option where you can quickly talk to someone without having to remove your headphones. Because even though the AirPods Max will pause your music when you take them off, now you've got your hands full or you're gonna have to put them around your neck. But finally, here's the microphone test. Now, unfortunately, the microphone on both of Sony's headphones aren't the best. Specifically, the microphone on the Sony 1000XM3s sounds very muffled. Now, the microphone on the 1000XM4s does sound a little better, but my voice still doesn't sound super clear. So personally, I would avoid taking phone calls with either of Sony's headphones. But then there are the AirPods Max. Now, the microphone on these headphones sound great, and the microphone on the AirPods Max does sound noticeably better than the microphone found on both AirPods and the AirPods Pro. And this microphone also does a great job of blocking out ambient noise, because right now we're running the road noise simulation. And if we were to switch over to my lapel microphone, you're going to clearly hear all of this road noise. But if we were to switch back over to the AirPods Max, it is severely reduced and my voice is front and center. And this microphone also does a great job of blocking out chatter, all while still maintaining your voice front and center. So overall, the microphone on the AirPods Max is great for phone calls. So with all that being said, even though the AirPods Max really do deliver when it comes to sound and active noise cancellation, they aren't without their drawbacks and quirks. Even though the AirPods Max block out more noise than both of the Sonys because they brutally go after those low frequency sounds, they do have a considerable amount of cabin pressure which contributes to overall comfort. And in general, comfort is the AirPods Max's biggest setback. These headphones are way above average, they have a lot of clamping force so they aren't big head approved, and their fabric ear pads can get itchy at times. Now, I've said this in the past, you can have a pair of headphones that sound great and block out a ton of noise, which is what we have with the AirPods Max. But if your headphones don't fit well, you're not going to want to wear them, which is a shame because I really like how these headphones sound. So comfort is the main reason why I still recommend either of these Sony's headphones over the AirPods Max. And it also doesn't hurt that the Sonys cost significantly less, they come included with an actual case, and they also come included with an audio cable. Pretty basic stuff. Now, if you're currently rocking the 1000XM3s, you should be perfectly fine. But if you opt to go with the newer 1000XM4s, then you are going to enjoy slightly roomier ear pads and simultaneous multi-device connectivity. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. If you want to pick any of the products up mentioned in this video, those will be linked in the description down below, and you can also support the channel by checking out the merch store. But other than that, I'll catch you next time.